The lover archetype, like some of the archetypes, quite a few variations to the tribal explanation. The lover can be the person who is so shut down at the tribal level, so shut down around love because they've been so wounded, again, abandoned, rejected or betrayed somewhere in their childhood at birth, but as they're going through for a whole variety of reasons. So they're so wounded, or their parents are so not there for them, or they're so abusive to them. Their trust is completely, utterly eroded, so they shut down around love. And one of two things usually happens after that. They turn completely to the mind and they let their heart go completely, and they become totally mentally oriented people, because the heart's a dangerous place to be. So they put all their faith and trust into the mind, often become academics, often become totally involved with very heady stuff. Computer programming, could be anything that they do, anyone like that. And the other thing is when the heart shuts down, they can often turn to the animal kingdom to get what they can't get from the human kingdom because they've been so wounded and hurt in their childhood. The lover can also be that person who jumps from relationship to relationship at the tribal level. So perhaps this is a person who's going to make me happy. Oh no, that's not working. Perhaps it's this person who's going to make me happy. Oh no, that didn't work either. Perhaps it's this person who's going to make me happy. So at the tribal level, you're always looking outside of yourself for that other person to make you happy. Or another version of the lover at the tribal level is the person who just gives ad infinitum, always to whomever they're in contact with, hoping to get some of it back. So there's an agenda there. So they're incredibly giving, but in a very needy manner. The lover at the symbolic level grows up, and they understand you can't possibly give out to someone else what isn't already within. That there's no balance in that. So you learn the most essential lesson of being on the earth plane, which is you learn how to love yourself. At the tribal level, you're told loving yourself is selfish. You're only valid if you're giving to others all the time. But at the symbolic level, the lover understands about self-love. And so you understand you have to fill your own cup up first before you can possibly give out to everyone else. So none of us are taught, unfortunately, about self-love when we're born. We still run the old map of the world that says it's better to give than receive. It takes a lot of growth and understanding of the psychology of the mind, the spirituality, and blending all these worlds together to understand without self-love you haven't got anything, because it has to be an inside job. It has to be where you so understand you are so valuable, so worth loving, and only when you fill yourself up to overflowing with love. I'm not talking about being narcissistic necessarily. I'm just talking about honouring yourself and valuing yourself and having clear boundaries and being able to speak your truth clearly without fear of reprisal or anything along those lines, that your self-worth, self-esteem, self-respect is in such a good place that it automatically leads to self-love at the symbolic level. Like a lot of archetypes, the only place to have it is at the symbolic level, but it's a lifelong journey getting the lover to the symbolic level. There's an old statement that seems very appropriate here that says, if you think you're enlightened or you've got your act together, go home and live with your parents. Because if you've still got unfinished business around self-love, it'll come up invariably when you're back in the either with siblings or with parents on some level, because that'll show you where the child is still acting out. And that's the lover at the tribal level. So it's a very, very essential archetype to have lover at the symbolic level.